Hey folks, in today's video, this is my updated mock of the Partisans version of the T-65 X-Wing, which appears on screen in Andor and Rogue One. With its very distinctive black and white colour scheme, it really does stand out compared to the Rebel Alliance versions we've seen in the past. There are some neat features to my mock which I'll show you, but hey, if you think this is a decent mock, then click the like button on the video. I really appreciate all your support. So in the Andor trailer we see a very short glimpse of it parked up, and of course it's briefly seen in Rogue One, well a crashed one and one that's parked. I used reference photos online, which there are some really good ones, especially of models. But, I kind of wanted to do a variation of the livery because they won't all look the same, so my version has some minor differences. An important feature for me is front and back retractable landing gear. The rear ones are built into the engines and the front skid sits flush into the fuselage. The mechanism I used to open the S-foils is based on Luke's 2018 version, and yeah, it has blue rubber bands, but I really don't mind as this is intended to be played with and not just on display. The cockpit uses the standard X-Wing piece, and I've got an Astromech in here as well. However, the biggest challenge with any X-Wing mock is the nose design, how to get the proper angles, tapering it up to the cockpit and also keeping it a strong build and not copying what's been done before. I've achieved this using a top plate with alternating narrow wing pieces on either side. It's actually dead simple but works really well. Each wing has one of these modified plates with the wee hole, and this way they can sit on top, held in place by an antenna. The top plate itself is only attached by the clutch power of this double jumper plate, and believe it or not, this is all it takes. Once everything is put in place at this angle, it just holds it all together really snugly. I have tried a design using clips and flex tubes internally, but I think this works way better, it's easier and it's strong as well. And that strength is important for a build that's meant to be played with, as it never comes off. Even when tipped upside down, it doesn't budge. And the angled wedge shape is something LEGO themselves have struggled with, and they always made it too flat. I don't know why LEGO struggle, as it's definitely possible with the parts available these days in the parts inventory. I also added a working storage hatch underneath. Again, I find there's no excuse for LEGO not to include this in their versions. As I was saying, this is really sturdy. I'm not worried about anything falling off. Wings open or closed, it's a solid build. The Astromech sits in very simply and it's covered on either side. The cockpit is large and detailed. He's carrying some spare coaxium in here and some grenades. I didn't use an Alliance pilot, just this grey one instead. So the engine design uses barrels, of course, with wheels and a pink trans cone on the end. The black and white triangular design is done with tiles and small wing plates, and it's really effective to get that angle. I used white curved pieces for the engine cowling, but you could use black to make it a wee bit more accurate, as it is meant to be black. I just don't have black curves like that. The side of the cockpit uses black curved tiles and regular tiles on an angled plate. So from this view, you can see the nose has no gaps at all, it's seamless. The guns use the black parts from Poe's Resistance X-Wing, and they're attached on the wing with curved parts and not a rectangular piece, as they are meant to be curved on the real thing. I used Technic gear pieces on either side of the guns, which is quite accurate. I also made sure the guns came up to the front of the cockpit, as that's their length based on images of models. With the S-foils closed, you can see it's tight, the wings stay together, and underneath I made a slight variation on the colour scheme, and these engines have a bit more white in them, just to make it a bit different looking. The engines also protrude slightly. Again, when you look at models, they're meant to be like that, they don't come out straight. The mechanism is perfect for me. I know there's loads of different versions of the mechanism out there, but in terms of parts, this is so simple. I just followed Luke's 2018 instructions for just this back bit with the mechanism. Everything else, of course, is my own design. Oh man, I tell you, it takes me back to my childhood anytime I pick up an X-Wing. I mean, I played with my toy versions a lot, and I never had a Lego one. I would have lost my mind if that were a thing back in the 80s and 90s. So you might know I made a Partisan U-Wing recently, which is featured in the Star Wars Rebels TV show, and sitting next to each other, they look so cool. I love them both. Oh, and you can check that video here. The U-Wing is slightly out of scale, to be fair, but I am working on an enlarged, more accurate version of the U-Wing, which has more space underneath for troops. So I hope you enjoyed a wee look at my version of the MOC. I hope LEGO actually make this a set, and I hope in the Andor TV show we get to see them in action, as it would be great to see the Partisans feature more heavily and not just the Alliance. Anyway, so thanks so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!